Killswitch Engage theme music plays even through the darkest days. This fire burns always. The song continues. Everything pans in on me running at super speed on the Injustice Earth, and I encountered the Injustice Flash, and I killed all the other Injustice League members, and I drank all their blood, gaining all their abilities. After the Injustice League killed thousands of innocent people, they were all fair game for me, and I caught Flash by the throat, and then I lifted him off his feet with one hand while choking him, and then I bit him on his neck, and I drank all his blood just like all the other members of the Justice League, and I went to many alternate realities until eventually I entered the Marvel Universe, and it was there that I found the Beyonder, and I drank all his blood and I gained all his powers, and he was not strong enough to challenge me. After that I stayed in the Marvel MCU universe, and I decided to help out the Avengers for a while along with my beloved wives. I went and helped Tony Stark free himself from the Ten Rings terrorists, and I also saved the Dr. Ho Yinsen, the man that saved Tony Stark's life. While me and Tony Stark were at Burger King, I ate a lot of food, and so did my wives, and my wife Jerry Dandridge said it's been so long since I ate real food. And then Tony Stark asked me, so who the hell are you? And then I said my real name is Charley Brewster, but you can call me Alucard. And then Tony Stark stared at me in shock and surprise, and he asked me why my name spells Dracula backwards, and then I said because I am of the Dracula bloodline, but in my world he was known as Alucard. And then I said I'm a vampire, Tony Stark, and then Tony said yeah right, vampires can't survive in daylight. And then I said well, I am unique and those little rules don't apply to me. And then I looked at my beautiful wives and I raised my eyebrow and said, are those like me? Because you see, Dracula in my world is not just a vampire, he's the very first vampire, and he's also a vampire god, and I inherited his genes through his human bloodline, and I kept the name of Alucard to honor Dracula and his lineage. And then Tony Stark asked me, so who are all these beautiful ladies? And then I said these are my beautiful brides. And then I said meet Elizabeth Báthory and Amy Peterson, and this is Clara Vaught and Maeve and Diane Prince, but you know her as Wonder Woman. And then I said I've been all across every reality and multiverse, Tony Stark, and I must say your universe intrigues me the most. I can feel many powerful beings here like I did in the DC Injustice universe, and after I killed all the evil people in that universe I gained more omnipotent powers, and I decided to come to the Marvel Universe with my black hole warping abilities. And then Tony Stark asked me, how powerful are you, and if you're a day-walking vampire, can you make other people immortal like you? And then I said I definitely could make anyone immortal, and I have all the powers of a blood god, Tony, which pretty much means I am omnipotent, and before I came to your planet I drank all the blood of an evil god in your universe, and he calls himself the Beyonder, but I decided he was unworthy of his powers, so I drank all his blood and I killed him because he deserved it. And then Tony Stark asked me, so you kill bad people? And then I sighed and closed my eyes and I said yes, but I can also subdue them and arrest them also if necessary. I mostly preferred to just kill them outright so me and my wives can drink their blood, because human blood just makes us stronger than we already are, and that's my gift, the gift of my blood. And then Tony Stark asked me, how old are you? And then I said I'm 25 years old. I'm not an ancient vampire yet, Tony, I'm still very young, but Elizabeth Báthory, she is an older vampire. And then Jerry Dandridge struck my arm playfully with a closed fist and she said naughty boy, and I giggled a bit and said sorry my love, I didn't mean to offend you, I'm just stating facts. And then I said to Tony Stark, eventually you and I need to tell James Rhodes where you are, Tony, because he's getting worried about you. And then Tony said he can wait, I'm more interested in you and what you're capable of. And I said I have all the powers of a god, Tony Stark, and I don't need to say anything other than that, and to be honest I don't want to answer any more questions about me, and you will find out what I am capable of in the future. And let's just say that me and my wives won't cause any trouble for you and your people. We only kill really bad people that truly deserve to die, and you and others like you don't meet that criteria, so you have nothing to worry about. Just don't stray from your path as a hero and you won't have any trouble from me and my kind. Just consider that a warning. And then I gave Tony Stark my cell phone number and I told him where he could find me if he needs my help with anything, and then I teleported to a nice hotel so me and my wives could have some much needed privacy.